from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
Details about Henrico County's slow growth and an increase in violent crimes and car thefts. We'll tell you about those stories and more in today's Henrico News Minute. It's Friday, March 15th, 2024. It's brought to you today by Speech Connections.
And now for the news.
Well, it might not seem like it, but Henrico County's population grew at a slower rate last year than the populations of 6 of the 7 other largest Metro Richmond localities, according to a population estimate from the U.S. Census Bureau that was released yesterday. The agency estimated that Henrico's population grew by just 207 people last year to a total of 334,760. That's 145 residents lower than the 2020 estimated population. Of the 133 localities in Virginia, the Census Bureau estimated that 83 saw a population growth last year. Henrico was 81st among that group. Meanwhile, Chesterfield County's estimated population grew by more than 5,500 people last year, Hanover's by about 1,300, New Kent's by almost 1,200, and Richmond's by about 900. New Kent's estimated population growth of 4.7% placed it first in Virginia and 10th nationally among all counties with 20,000 or more residents, according to the Census Bureau. Violent crime and car theft were up in Henrico last year, according to Henrico Police Chief Eric English, who presented a report to the county's Board of Supervisors this week. The board has proposed $107 million in funding for the Division of Police, a $7 million increase from the current fiscal year. You can read more about the increase in crime right now on our website from our partners at WTVR TV6. Professors from the University of Richmond and J. Sargent Reynolds Community College were among the 11 professors statewide honored by the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia and Dominion Energy as part of their 2024 Outstanding Faculty Awards. The awards recognize faculty members at public and private colleges in the state who exemplify the highest standards of teaching, scholarship, and service. Carrie Humphrey, a full-time instructor and the head of the American Sign Language and Interpreter Education Program at Reynolds, and Elizabeth Outka, the Tucker Boatwright Professor of Humanities and an English professor at the University of Richmond, were among those honorees. All 11 will receive $7,500 from the Dominion Energy Charitable Foundation. The Virginia General Assembly proposed in its budget an outside review of the state's special education dispute resolution system through legislation designed to address compliance concerns raised by the federal government and by parents. Lawmakers are proposing to spend $100,000 to fund the Virginia Commission on Youth so it can hire a consultant to examine the dispute resolution system, which has been criticized for failing to monitor and respond to complaints against school districts. Governor Glenn Youngkin is expected to complete his review of the state budget when lawmakers return to Richmond April 17th. You can read more about this issue right now on our website, henricocitizen.com, from our partners at Virginia Mercury. Legislation that would educate consumers in Virginia about invasive plant species passed the General Assembly, but not without debate about where signage would be placed. Invasive plant species are not native to the region and can negatively impact ecosystems. The Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation identified 90 invasive plant species and ranked them from most to least invasive. They include kudzu, English ivy, golden bamboo, and periwinkle, among many others. Lawmakers were divided about whether signage should be placed at each invasive plant display of a store that sells them or at an entrance. The Senate amended both bills to place signage at entrances, but the House rejected that amendment. The original House bill also wanted language at each display, stating that the plants could cause environmental harm. The final bill passed will require any place that sells an invasive plant species to display a sign nearby that warns consumers and encourages them to ask about alternatives. There is a penalty of no more than $500 for retailers who fail to post the signs, and a stop sale order until the signage is posted. A report report from the Virginia Invasive Species website concludes that invasive species have cost the state as much as $1 billion annually. And we're already back to Friday, which means on our website, henricocitizen.com, today you can find our weekend top 5, a look at 5 great things happening around the county this weekend, and also our restaurant watch, an updated list of public restaurant inspection reports for some of your favorite spots around town. So we hope you have a great weekend. Speech Connections offers pediatric speech therapy services at their office in Henrico, in daycares, preschools, private schools, public schools, and via teletherapy. Their dynamic team provides individualized and family-centered speech therapy services for toddlers, preschoolers, school-aged children, and adolescents. When you work with Speech Connections, you get a team that is ready to provide the highest standard of care while collaborating with families and other professionals. To learn more, visit speechconnections.net or call 804-672-8588.